Hello guys, welcome back to day 8 of Python for Beginners tutorial. In this tutorial, you will learn about parameters versus arguments. By the end of this tutorial, you will be able to understand the difference between parameters versus arguments. And also you learn the return and pass statements in Python's function. To let a function return a value, use a return statement. So for example, let's define a function that has two parameters, x and y, and it's gonna return x plus y. So this return statement leads to the function that return a value. So when you are calling this function, results are passing arguments to the function, then this function returns the sum of x and y and store the result to the variable race. Then when you are printing race, you can see the result of the function as an output. But print and return statements has a key differences. The return statement just return the values of the function, and when you are calling the function, it's gonna just store that result of the return statements in your variables, look like this. And when you are printing that result, you can see the output on the output device. A return doesn't display the output, but it's just return the values of the function as a result. So print and return statement has differences. So you could understand the difference between return and print statements. The other important concept that you should know is the pass statement. Function definition cannot be empty, but if you, for some reason, have a function definition with no content, for example, here, the function is defined, but there is no block of statements inside this function. So this function expected to define block of statements inside this function. So there it generate an error because of every function should have a block of statements, but you miss defining the block of statements in that function definition. To avoid that error, you can use pass statements. So this pass statement is just to avoid getting an error in the function definition while you are defining an empty function. That's it. Okay, the other most important thing that you should know is parameter versus arguments. The terms parameter and argument can be used for the same thing, information that are passed into the function, but they have some key differences. A parameter is a variable listed inside the parentheses in the function definition. For example, here we have two parameters, x and y, and the parameter, if you have more than one parameter, you should separate by comma. So here, x and y are parameters. So parameters always defined in the function definition inside the parentheses of the function. And the arguments are different from parameters. So an argument is the value that is sent to the function when the function is called. Here, the function is called and I pass two arguments into this function, and those arguments are automatically assigned to the parameters listed inside the function definition. So this is called a positional argument. So A3 and 4 are positional arguments. So the first number is assigned to the first parameter in the function definition. The second argument is assigned to the second parameter in the function definition. So that is called with the positional argument. Each position of the arguments are assigned to each position of the parameters inside the function. So position arguments are mandatory. So if you missing, for example, one positional argument in this case, it just generate an error. So in this case, 2 plus 3 is 5. If you, for example, passing one position argument, but you have two parameters in the function definition, so it just throws an error. The error said the add function missing one required position argument, that is y. The first argument is automatically assigned to the first parameter, that is called position argument, and there is no second argument in the function call, but there is one positional parameter in the function definition. So you should specify equal number of positional arguments to the number of parameters in the function definition. All right. The other most important thing is that the number of arguments must be equal to the number of parameters. So here I have two parameters, so I must pass two position arguments to each of the parameters. For example, if you pass more than two parameter arguments to the function, but you have two parameters only, so the error says add takes two position arguments, but three were given. So you should avoid the third position arguments to avoid this error. The other most important thing is default arguments. In some cases, you may specify default arguments. For example, y is 4. So this is called a default argument. The default argument allows you to specify default values. So you can provide a default value to an argument by using the assignment operator. For example, this 4 is assigned to the parameter y. So you don't need to specify argument in this case because we have a default argument here. So the default argument is evaluated during the function definition, not in the function call, because it is initially assigned the default value to the parameter x. So it's gonna be evaluated during function definition. If you do not pass the argument to the positional or the default argument, so it will take the default value as a default argument. So default values are evaluated when the function is defined, not when it is called. You can modify the default arguments inside the function. For example, y is 6, take 6 instead of 4. Okay, 6, 2 plus 6 is 8. You can also pass arguments instead of the default value. So it will take the argument taken, but the default argument is defined or modified inside the function. And when you are avoiding that, it will take this one instead of default value. So this is called default argument. So you can also use default arguments in the function definition. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you understand about parameters versus arguments, the number of parameters and arguments, positional arguments, and default arguments in this tutorial. Don't forget to write comments below, and see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.